How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk about stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. We also got to put in the disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. You just know when you do invest, you're doing it at your own risk. And you know what time it is. It is time for the joke of the day. If you're new to this channel, we do this 5 days out of the work week. Maybe you had maybe you had a stressful day. Maybe it was the market conditions. Well, you came to watch this video, plus hear one of my corny jokes. So here it comes. Why are crabs so bad at sharing? Because they're all shellfish. I know it's pretty corny. But anyways, what we're going to be talking about today is Ocugen, ticker symbol OCGN. And I've been getting the messages. They've been rushing in. Hey, Dre, what is the update? What is going on? Did you see what happened to the stock price today being down almost 20%? And I'm like, yes, I see it all. But one thing I want to make sure I remind you guys when you come to my channel, always protect your profits. But before we get started, I want to kind of go over the agenda like I do normally in all my videos. And you already know we have timestamps down below inside the description. So the first thing that we're going to be going over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the price action, taking a look at support areas, and as well as resistance areas. We definitely had a pullback today, so I would highly suggest you watch that part of the video so you can have a good idea of what you need to look out for as this week progresses, as well as going into next week as well. We're also going to be taking a look at the institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information. Believe it or not, even though we covered it recently, there has been some changes, and I saw the institution started loading up the boat today. So make sure you guys check out that part of the video. And as far as the short interest, I feel like this is key to know. We want to know, is the short squeeze potential still there for Ocugen? And then when all that is done, you guys know I like to give you a lot of value. I'll be giving you my final thoughts. So let's get into it. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for OCGN, which ended up closing the day at $12.51, being down 20.22% on the day. On the low, it tested $11.87, and then on the high, testing $13.84. So one of the things that we want to take a look at right away is actually how well it's able to hold up this $12 area of support. We've talked about this previously on the channel, how key of a psychological area this is, and it did a good job. It did end up breaking through it, but it wasn't for too long because it was able to rebound fairly quickly. So I'd love to see that continue for the rest of the week, bearing that we don't get any news of holding up that $12 level. If we do end up getting some news, then we already know where the potential of this stock can go. Another thing to also look out for is seeing how well, if we do break that $12 area of support, is how well we can hold up around this $11.50 area and as well as this $11 area. If any of these particular areas ever end up breaking, we can quickly make a test down to the 1050s, and if we ever get down to the 10s, we will definitely be seeing the 9s. But I really don't see this happening unless we don't get any news or any updates whatsoever, which I highly doubt. We do have earnings that is coming out on May the 7th, so be prepared for more volatility. Now, what we want to do is take a look at areas of resistance. So we've already confirmed yesterday when we ended up getting into that $16 area, we have an area of resistance here at 16. We also got to take into consideration of the fact we also have an area of resistance right here around this 1370 range as well, and also take into consideration this $13 level. So what I'd want to see, especially going into tomorrow, is actually having some consolidation and some support being in that $13 level. If we don't get it, all I'm looking for from OCGN is being able to hold up this $12.50 level. As far as what it's looking like in regards to our indicators, is it continuing to look bullish or not? We are above the 200-day. We're also above the 100-day, but we did break through the 21-day EMA. So I'll be looking to see some recovery above it. If we're unable to actually have some sort of recovery above it, then there's a lot of downside risk here, as you guys can see in front of you, and from the prior support levels if it does decide to pull back. So that's what I'm going to be looking forward to as far as OCGN for this week. And also, before we close out this portion of the video, if you take a look at the RSI down below here, there were definitely some opportunities you could have considered in regards to buying. It was right around 42 too, so it was a below 50. That's where we consider for a value and so forth. And I know institutions did end up taking advantage of the dip as well today. So we're going to be taking a look at the institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information for OCGN. So as we scroll down on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. And one of the things that we could see that institutions have definitely been showing some interest as of today on May the 4th. We have Savant Capital with 11,000 shares, and on May the 3rd we had Moisen Fitzgerald Tomeo with their 10 shares, which we covered as well. But this is very significant of the fact that Savant Capital took advantage of that dip that went down in OCGN today, and as you know already, many institutions have been bullish on OCGN as of late as well. So if we take a look at the short interest information, the short volume ratio is at 29%, so we definitely have some short squeeze potential here. To put things in perspective, on May the 3rd, out of 282.4 million shares that were traded, 82.5 million of those shares were actually sold short. So that's something to really keep an eye on there. So as we scroll down on the page, short shares availability stands at 1.3 million and the short ball free rate stands at 5.73%. If we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, it's definitely been high. We can see it was well into the mid 30 areas as well. So it'll be interesting to see what it ends up looking like later on tonight and especially going into tomorrow, because I do see it actually going up due to the fact that, hey, if we have the volatility that we have inside the markets and we're not getting any news, they're going to continue to want to actually push the price down. But when the news does come out in regards to the FDA approval and the EUA, then we could see quite a big move in overall price action. So for my final thoughts for OCGN, things are definitely going to be interesting as this week progresses. We saw an institutional ownership. Hey, institutions have been showing interest and there is some short squeeze potential here in OCGN. But we also do need to know that this is very time sensitive here. If we don't get an update in regards to an FDA approval or the emergency use authorization by this week, I won't be surprised if OCGN ends up visiting the $10 range. You got to know, time is definitely of the essence. Now, what we want to look out for is seeing how well it can continue to hold up that $11 area of support. I think that is very key, because if that area does break, then we will definitely see 10. We also know above $11, also $11.50. So if $11.50 breaks and it looks like it's going to be coming to 11, I just want to make sure that you guys are prepared and you know what's going on. And this is part of the reasons why I say this in my videos. Always protect your profits. Many of you are saying, man, I should have sold out when I saw it go to 16 or it went to 15. But you know what your decision was. You're responsible for what you decided to do. And what do I mean by this? You know that you're waiting out for a catalyst to come, right? So the fact that you've told yourself that and you have that game plan, then hey, you need to make the right decision for yourself to help ease your mind. Other options that you can consider is not look at it, or number two, making sure that you have a stop loss in place so you can actually protect your profits. Another thing being is, if you know that you actually believe in the long-term prospects of Ocugen, then you shouldn't be bothered by any of the volatility that you are currently seeing. And even if it does dip, or if it does pull back, or even if it comes crashing back down, since you believe in the company, it shouldn't bother you. So I want you guys to really get a full understanding on that, and I think it's very key. I, for myself, you guys already know how I feel about this. This is strictly a momentum play. So this is part of the reasons why I was saying, if you are going to be playing inside this stock, just know the type of game you are playing. It's either you're going long or you're swinging. If you're bothered because it pulled back quite a bit today, and keep in mind the market conditions were not the greatest, then maybe you shouldn't be looking at this stock long term if it bothered you that it pulled back 20%. Just something to make sure that you keep in perspective, and also just to make sure that you have the right attitude going into whatever stock that you decide to get into. You got to be able to believe in the company, and it's part of the reasons why we talk about on this channel. If you're going long on a particular company, you want to make sure it has the KLTs. And if you don't know what that means, you got to know the company, like the company, and trust trust the company. So if it checks off all of those boxes, then you should not be concerned. But just know on this channel, we focus on protecting your profits. And for anyone who's already taken profits already or is not even worried and they actually believe in the long term in regards to OCGN, my hat's off to you. So I'm going to reiterate it again. If we do not get the FDA approval or the emergency use authorization, this stock will continue to go down. If we end up getting these catalysts, so it ends up going through and then things start looking good, we get a deal done and so forth, then the stock price is going to go up. So know the risks that are associated with this play. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and we'll be talking real soon.